right, folks, we've got our coffee right here. We've got our Wall Street Journal, and we've got our silver, which means we have everything we need for another metals market analysis. A lot of YouTube channels tell you what happens with silver, but they don't give you the context of the entire world, which helps you understand exactly how relevant that information is. So we got a little paper here we can run through together with some top stories. We like to talk about facts over feelings here, not necessarily political things, but just how everything ties together. So that being said, let's dive into some of those stories and talk about where silver was this week, as well as gold and whatever else seems relevant. So obviously, we've got the U.S. in the deal for the area of the Gaza Strip with Israel and Palestine early in the morning. That tends to happen. TikTok, obviously, big things going on there. But what we want to get to is this exchange part, because that's where we tend to see what exactly is going on in the world of our metals and other things at large. Alrighty. Bitcoin, of course, all the rage. Smartwatches. Let's go ahead and find our stuff. Oh, U.S. Steel. That's a big one. U.S. Steel is rebounding hardcore. Let's take a look at that chart for any of you interested. So as you can see, U.S. Steel is in good shape there, joining up 6% this week. That's phenomenal. Okay, and that probably has to do with the man coming into office saying that he's going to be investing in the infrastructure that helps U.S. Steel. Bitcoin, let's see. Let's get to what we need, which is going to be our market movers. Here we are. This is what we like. All right. So, with Monday being the inauguration, we know that two big ticket items are going to be affecting our metals. Well, really one big thing that affects all things. But we're going to be having a lot of, my guess, first day of issue bills signed into order by the president that are going to have to do with the energy policies and the ability for things like oil and natural gas to get back in charge. And that is going to make a lot of sense when it comes to the stock market and futures in both that and in automotive industries and in industrial industries like Caterpillar, all of those implements used to pull the silver from the mountainside. So that type of thing. But here's our market winners and losers. Here we got our gains. I always like to see kind of what we're looking at. Energy sector, just like we talked about, huge 6% growth this week. Financials, like your banking, big. Materials, that's a big one, probably going into, once again, the idea that the ability to not only, let's say, lumber, chop down lumber is going to be cheaper with the lower energy prices, but to bring it from point A to point B to C, D, E is also going to be cheaper. Real estate, 4%. That's interesting. All right, let's keep going down here. Utilities, we know last time we looked at this, we saw a jump in both silver and gold. Will we have 2 weeks of growth? I don't know. All right, we have a commodity here. Corn has risen almost 3%. Interesting. NASDAQ composites right here. Soybeans. The South African rand has grown. That's a world currency that has been down a bit. Here's copper, 1.47. We know that China just recently has invested billions in Serbia for their copper. COMEX gold right there. So gold is another week high, 1.32% we see on gold. Hadn't found silver yet. Looks like COMEX silver is down just a hair at 0.45%. All right, and our treasury yield, as you can see, right here. This is based months and years ago. You can kind of see where we are there. So, as we see, we took a very small dip in silver this week. My guess is that we're going to be starting to see a trend with energy prices getting lower, and how fast they get lower. We're going to see some confidence in those sectors when it comes to the pulling the extraction process and then the energy required to refine and the energy required to then ship across the world go down, we're probably going to see some changes there. Now, here's a difference. So the cheaper the price, what we might see is more supply as they crank out more with the same budgets that they're currently working on, which means price could go down, or they could hold it and then sell it and manipulate it till, they get the type of profit they want from the product that they're pulling out of the mountain. We don't know. So that'll be interesting. But I do know if you like things like stocks, Ford has a huge upside right now because they're both in the energy business from a consumer standpoint, as their cars and vehicles definitely are going to be taken away from the battery mandates. But we also know that the amount of energy it takes to build those cars and the factories and that type of thing, and the incentives to stay within the country to do it are going to be there. Those aren't political things. Those are just things that have been said that I'm repeating. So that being said, not a bad time to slap on some silver and gold. It is 2 weeks of straight growth for gold, though it was smaller this week. Silver grew pretty well last week based on what we've tracked. And as you've seen the market trends here, really a lot of growth going on. So it's not that silver and gold have gone against the market. They've kind of been really in line. In fact, I've got last week's. We can compare the difference. Look at the context here. This is last week's. So our big movers, we had 18% in natural gas, the LMP, and that's interesting. That's a giant growth, and I'm not positive exactly why that was, but my guess it once again has to do with a lot of things going on with permits and all of that. But you saw silver at 4% and copper at 5% there, gold at 2.4%. But everything was pretty low. But here we are a week before inauguration, and we have a much bigger story with all of these positive movements. So that was 1 week ago, the difference between those two. So all interesting things, a lot of disappointment last week when it comes to the losses, but neither here nor there. I just thought this would be fun to bring to you, and maybe I can do this weekly to just show you where we were and where we are, to give you a broader idea of the things that you're interested in and how they relate, rather than just, metals. How are these things interacting? Because sometimes they play off of each other, which is good. So there you are. Hope you enjoyed today's Market Digest, courtesy of the Wall Street Journal. And then come back next week, and we'll try to do it again. Thank you so much, and as always, please remember to stay classy and current with the culture of currency.